The end year features kick off with this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. In this episode, you and I are going to cover the solo artist and 2D group debuts of 2023 and explore a bit why there was barely any activity this year when it came to especially 2D group and Seiyuu Units debuts. Are you curious about this? Well, it's time to kick off this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is the big solo artist and 2D group debuts of 2023. This is the first out of several episodes to be released in the next couple of weeks about the big happenings in 2023. This time around, you and I are going to cover the solo artist, Seiyuu Units and 2D group debuts. Do know that when I mention 2D group debuts, that is exactly what it is. I won't be talking about new groups from new 2D franchises. I will be talking about new groups added to 2D franchises that did not debut this year. Also, when I mentioned Seiyuu Units, I am talking about Seiyuu that team up to perform as a group. These used to be common for Seiyuu who were co-hosting radio shows, but in 2023 it changed a little bit. Without further ado, let's talk about some of these debuts. Solo artist debuts. I start this feature by cheating in this category. So, Shoichiba announced his solo debut in 2023, however, it will only happen in 2024. Think of 2023 as his pre-solo debut year. Chibi is going to make a solo debut in January 2024. This has been a long-awaited solo debut since he departed from Sparklu in 2021. The talented Seiyuu is finally going to make his solo debut under King Amusement Creative, a music label best known for housing Mamoru Miyano, Soichiro Hoshi, Shota Aoi and Yumu Uchida. According to what was confirmed in the announcement livestream held in October, Chiba wrote lyrics to the title track in his first EP, Blessing, which is an exciting update given how King Amusement Creative seldom lets their Seiyuu artists write lyrics or even compose their songs. I've already covered a lot about this solo debut, why Shoichiba is the most exciting talent to become a solo artist in the last couple of years, and potentially has to become a star. For more on that, check episode 169 of Seiyuu Lounge. I believe that if King Records lets him create the music he loves, which is rock music, and be a part of the creative process, we may have in Shoichiba a hybrid of Gakuto Kajiwara for his music and Soma Saito for the creative process. I feel, and I've said it before on an episode of Monthly Review, that I consider Shoichiba the next big thing in the music industry among male Seiyuu artists. He has the potential to follow the steps of Soma Saito and really set out on a unique journey with music that only he has, with lyrics that are his, and a creative direction that is interesting, intricate, yet still welcoming for fans to dive into. Later in 2024, for a feature basically similar to this one, I will be talking extensively about his solo debut, as it is technically a 2024 solo debut, not a 2023. I'm curious to see and hear what his first EP, Blessing, will sound like. I am aware it may be a safe bet, but already the fact that he is going to release an EP leaves me with high hopes his music is going to be good and that he is actually taking this really seriously. He wants to show us through 5 songs his work and world as a lyricist as well as a performer, and I honestly can't wait for it. Seiyuu Unit debuts. Nothing on this front, as Seiyuu Units this year were particularly quiet or not active at all. This is something that illustrates pretty well how weak 2023 was music-wise. There were no solo debuts, Seiyuu Units were mostly inactive besides Sparklu and Trado, as well as Strignal's comeback later in 2023. Serenity, Gran Rodeo and Islala, a band featuring vocals by Soichiro Hoshi, don't count here because they are bands, not Seiyuu Units. So there were no Seiyuu Unit debuts. Some of the biggest male Seiyuu artists were not active or barely released new music, and then we got only 3 group debuts and similarly 3 2D music project launches. All of these shows a year in which music wasn't necessarily a priority for male Seiyuu artists. Seiyuu Units seem to be in a decline and at the moment aren't something that Seiyuu want for their careers. Will this trend continue? Well, I believe so. With more and more music labels open to helping male Seiyuu make their solo debuts, why debut with another Seiyuu, have no creative freedom, share the spotlight with someone else, and basically most likely have no one interested in their music? And even though making a solo debut may look or sound appealing, in 2023, most, if not all, the rising star talents among male Seiyuu avoided making a solo debut. Of course, I mentioned Shoichiba's solo debut, but it doesn't even count as it will only happen in January 2024. All this to say that while solo debuts are appealing, no one made a solo debut in 2023. And while Seiyuu Units were usually a good way to start and showcase Seiyuu singing skills, just look at Yumake, Kashikomi, and Trado, it seems to be less and less appealing to become a Seiyuu Unit these days. Unless something odd happens that shifts the panorama, I predict Seiyuu Unit debuts will continue to be on a decline in 2024. What will we get in return? The Seiyuu Units that are already active, Sparklu, Trignal, Yumake, Trado and Kashikomi, get more professional and polished with time, and will, most definitely, solidify their presence in the market, making it a bit difficult for new ones to join in and make an impact. I, for one, feel that Seiyuu Units were perfect to showcase new talents, but were often badly managed or signed to music labels that did not support them at all. Minus some exceptions, most Seiyuu Units were or are tied to a radio show, and nowadays, even if a radio show has a Seiyuu duo of hosts, they do not want to make a debut as a group or perform songs as opening or ending themes to their shows. Understandable. Again, radio shows may not attract everyone, and when there are two Seiyuu, chances of someone being a fan of both and wanting to purchase their music are slim. By not making a debut as a unit, Seiyuu radio duos avoid wasting time just to please a few. 2023 was a strangely poor year for Seiyuu Unit debuts, with none appearing. 2D group debuts. First off, we have Ultras. The B Project franchise made its return with the third anime season and bringing a breath of fresh air to it with its new group, Ultras. The group features vocals by Kentito as Bunta Kashiwagi and Tasuku Hatanaka as Eisuke Kurata. They will release their debut single, Update, in December 2023. With a lineup such as this one, Kentito and Tasuku Hatanaka are among the best singers you can find among male Seiyuu. There is a hype surrounding the group, and for sure the release of Update can deliver a lot to fans of good vocals and groovy pop music. Is there potential to impress further? Yes. I want to see where this group goes, especially because it is arriving at an odd time for the B Project franchise, which already had a well-defined set of groups with distinct music styles. Ultras may have certainly arrived out of nowhere, at least for me, and I am speaking as someone who hasn't watched the B Project anime series past the first season. And they certainly brought in a level of quality that is condensed, which makes the group instantly sound good, and at the same time, by bringing two ridiculously talented Seiyuu to the lineup, end up making a big impression right from the start. After all, it's not hard to impress when you have Kentito and Tasuku Hatanaka in a 2D music project, regardless of its core music genre. I will be following Ultras with a lot of curiosity from this point on. I hope at least that the group gets to release an album soon instead of just thematic songs for drama and music CDs like the B Project franchise has been doing. Stray Stride. To celebrate its 5th anniversary, the From Argonavis franchise has welcomed a new rock band to its ranks. Embracing rap rock, the dual vocal band Stray Stride features vocals by voice actor and Screen Mode's frontman Yu Hayashi and solo artist Shin. Yu Hayashi is in charge of rapping for the band and Shin is in charge of the vocals. The duo released its debut song Stray Dash Start Dash, featuring lyrics by Zack and composition and arrangement by Gran Rodeo Izuka, and it sounds amazing. While the band hasn't released any digital single or physical CD so far, their debut song certainly piqued the interest of many fans of the 2D rock mixed media project that is From Argonavis. I am particularly excited about this band as rap rock was pretty much my introduction to fusion rock genres back in the late 90s. I want to see what they can pull off and will be certainly checking more of their work soon. At the moment I am not reviewing any digital singles that aren't part of a series because those will eventually end up in a full-length album, so I want to avoid removing all the magic behind that music. However, as soon as they release an EP or a physical single, I'll be all over it. After all, it is rare to get rap rock bands among 2D music projects, and as much as the genre has been heavily criticized, I continue to have a soft spot for it, and I am curious to see how this band will actually tackle it. Cranv. After a full year of activities as a 14-member group, Cranv officially debuted with the final 7-member group in 2023. And honestly, out of all the group debuts this year, this was the one that got the most fanfare. And why was that? The group has a unique take on the 2D idol music concept by making fans vote for their final lineup of the group. Their music doesn't follow the sound or vibe that most, if not all, 2D music projects are following. Their sound is stylish, mature, and not at all cheesy. Their vocals and cohesion are already quite impressive for a group that debuted in 2023 and has only 1 year of experience working together. Also, on the vocal end, you have a really strong lineup that is not only about mixing experience with novelty, but also about having the right voices for the group instead of just packing it with stars just because. I feel that looking at this group versus Ambivalence, the franchise, has managed to check all the right boxes when it comes to creating a 2D music project with quality and a refreshing take on an already tried and true concept. As you can see, for example, with the fan voting through CD purchases in the Hypnosis Mic franchise, or the fan voting on social media by Paradox Live fans, keeping a fan base engaged and part of the decision-making, story-wise especially, is an amazing way to make a project exciting and nurture, at the same time, a loyal community that wants to follow the group and its members more closely. Bringing in fan participation to this project, especially having fans choosing the final lineup, with the CEO of course already chosen, was a big deal and the very first time it happened. It was refreshing and made the final lineup all the more precious to fans. And when it comes to music, the group made its debut in April 2023 with the digital single From Me, the first out of 3 digital singles that would culminate in one of the best albums of the year, Climb, which was impressive. The group raised and, in my opinion, exceeded expectations with its quality from the vocals to the instrumentals. Stylish music like theirs doesn't come often by 2D pop groups. For all these reasons and more, I talked extensively in all the reviews I wrote this year about their singles. Cranv was the best 2D group debut of 2023. As I wrote these year-end features, mind you, if you want to check the written version and links to the reviews and other interesting things, you can find those on the website. Just check the link in the description or just type directly THTFHQ.com on your browser. 2023 was, especially after 2022 and 2020, which were unbelievably amazing years for fans of male seiyuu artists and 2D groups, it was a particularly bad year. Yes, you heard me, 2023 was a bad year. There were barely new 2D groups appearing, new Seiyuu units were nowhere to be found, and solo debuts, while appealing, seemed to have spooked everyone this year, with no one making a solo debut in 2023. Personally, this was a year that I feel was introspective for many 2D music project creators on whether it makes sense or not to bring in new groups or just focus on improving their existing ones. At the same time, it seems that seiyuu are less interested in joining seiyuu units. Solo debuts, however, are the biggest mystery for me right now. In a year without any competition, this was the perfect opportunity for a male seiyuu artist to make an impact and have all the attention on himself, alas, no one set out to do that. This is curious as from a strategy standpoint, with such a quiet year in which music was mostly not remarkable, it was quite easy to impress even with a CD release that you would consider safe. Let's see if things changed around in 2024. Hopefully they do. Now tell me, what did you think about the new 2D group debuts? Was there any that excited you in 2023? And what do you think about having a year with no solo debuts? Are seiyuu avoiding solo debuts, or was this a year in which basically things were just slow? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the THTFHQ's weekly male seiyuu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male seiyuu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.